Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly referee today, because today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Mongoose Publishing's outstanding... Where's the core book here? There we go. Outstanding Traveler, 2nd edition, a science fiction role-playing game, and we are playing through a slightly modified version of their Borderland Run module. And with me today are the stars of the Borderland Run campaign. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing today? First up, we've got James.
Hi, I'm James. I'm Captain Ganny, titular captain of the Rift Wanderer.
Wasteland Wanderer.
Wrong game.
Next up is Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham, and I'm playing Dane Loverick, who is a former Imperial Marine, and now is starting to appreciate that he may be getting into even more trouble having retired than he had when he was in the Marine.
It's spending so much time around non-Marines, I assume, is the problem. Your violence is more directed for that. Next up is David.
Hi everyone, I'm David, and I'm playing Dr. Ilyas Abdel, the co-owner of the Rift Wanderer and a gifted physician.
Very nice. And last but certainly not least is Jeffrey.
Hi everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Alonzo Santoro. He is a journalist and probably responsible for creating the violence that Dane gets sucked into more often than not.
All right. So guys, last time is this our first session of the new year? I think so, right? Yeah, yes. First session of 2024. So at the end, let me bring you over to where we were last time. You can maybe tell us a little bit about what had been going on the planet of Hilfer. Not all, guys, only one at a time, please.
Well, we started off with an audience with the intercessor, the ruler, the ruler, newish ruler of the place, who had taken a particular shine to Alonzo, was very keen to meet our intrepid journalist.
Yeah.
And so myself and Alonzo went to meet him, or them, her, we're not quite sure. Turns out they are, to us, unfamiliar alien species, but seem to be firmly in charge, holding court. And when we arrived and had sort of observed the formalities, everyone else was dismissed except for a human woman and a Vargar, who was sort of right hand, left hand. And then there was a lot of where I think Dr. Ilyas was just like, I don't quite know what's happening, because a lot of them are speaking in each other's minds, and I'm only catching a third of the conversation. But they were essentially apologizing for misunderstanding, and sort of quite sorry for what happened to Alonzo, and we're sort of going to make up for it, having determined that we're not a threat and not sent by anyone to take anyone out, by giving us 2 assignments, one public and one secret, so to speak. I think they want us to deliver a message to King Olab of Drinax in secret, to the king directly.
Yeah.
And then they will also make sure we're getting we're finding a good deal on the market, to sort of say, hey, sorry for all of the brain damage and the commotion caused. But yeah, there seemed to be sort of a 3-way conversation between the Vargar, the woman, and the intercessor, and then Alonzo, and so I'm sure there's maybe more going on. And I think meanwhile, the others were following up or caught up on this whole, hey, you're here, we want to get off planet, we might have a 3rd passenger, and we've done some digging.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it turns out that maybe someone has been kidnapped.
That's right. You guys made friends
with politics.
With the where was he? I've got him down as both the Nosy Parker and the potential passenger. So it was this individual who was had approached Dane, and he was accompanied by a Vargar sidekick. And last time you guys did look further into that. What do you guys recall about That's snooping.
Bounty hunters, we thought? Is that right?
Yeah.
I think we did. I think we isolated
Yes,
the
they're-
bounties.
Yeah, there's some bounty hunters active in the Trojan Reach. They might have been part of the same outfit that the other mercenary we encountered was a part of. And they've been apparently have a history of arriving on planet and then kidnappings happen or people disappear. And we had a nice long discussion about if some of those people disappear voluntarily and they sort of getting people to safety, or if they get involved in local politics. I think we then learned that the daughter of Ganzeric is missing / has been kidnapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're now very strongly suspecting that these two have kidnapped her and are keeping her somewhere in the desert. And we're sort of about to go like, that's not really our problem. And we're like, well, apparently she's a 14-year-old. So probably not someone who has hired these people to rescue her. So we're now very much going like, we should probably do the right thing and see what's going on here. So hence why we might get into conflict and desperately need Dane.
Do you recall who you suspected based on their recent activity? There were
Fire
three.
dogs.
Yeah, the
Three
Firedog faction.
factions. Was it Firedog?
Yeah, the Firedog faction was seemingly pre-celebrating something, and it was Altan, the youngest daughter of Ganzeric, who is rumored to have gone missing.
Yeah. A future tyrant to be.
Quite possibly. Yeah. Thank God we saved baby Hitler. Oh my goodness. That guy was about to shoot him in the head. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think, is there anything else here? Oh, the where is he here?
I think we know that they both went out into the desert for about 9 days and got some gear. So that's why we think that they're keeping her somewhere out in the dunes.
Yeah.
Right.
You had also talked about operating with limited resources on an alien planet. So the conclusion I think you guys reached was that they likely have assistance from locals. 2 people wouldn't be able to pull off something like this. Each of these factions, based on even just the numbers you've seen around the low port, there's no shortage of guns. They're not as advanced as your weapons and whatnot, but they certainly have a lot of them. And the factions here, the contesting factions, are one of the reasons why one of the reasons why this planet has not really managed to reestablish itself since it got glassed by the Aslan at the fall of the Sindalan Empire. Hold on, I actually don't know if this was... I think this might have been glassed by the Sindalan themselves because they were rebelling.
I think it may have been.
Yeah. A whole lot of people want to blow up planets. And we're back to talking about Warhammer Inquisitors again. So then, what are you guys... that, I think, has brought us up to speed. I think Nomalon was the name of the woman psychic who you had dealt with, and is Gawk? No, Mikhail Belova and Gawk were the name of the bounty hunters.
Yes.
Did I give you the name? Was Ovad? Was that the name of the Varker?
I'm not sure we were given the names.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. You know, it's key to running a long-going, successful, nuanced campaign is careful, detailed notes taken by the players, because I don't
definitely get them to write them.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to do the heavy lifting. So I think that's the case. I've got because Batu Ratom is your contact on the planet. As a little tip, if you're going to take shitty notes, at least give good handouts with their names on them. Batu Ratom is your designated liaison for the Intercessor.
Right. Yeah.
We learned she's part of Ganzeric's horde.
She is part of Ganzeric's horde, so you may be able to approach her with more familiarity if you have any questions about this. Oh, I don't have a name for him yet, but there was the Vargar Nomad as well, who seems to be allied with the Intercessor. Do you remember anything about why the Intercessor wanted to check for psychics, or did they ask? Because he did interrogate you about one specific other, like, interstellar faction.
Oh, yes, he was concerned about the consulate.
Yeah, the Sudani consulate.
Mentioned spies.
Right.
And the Sudani are really not known to be active in here. Their borders are quite far away, but they are powerful psychics.
But I think the woman was quite rude about Alonso's psychic abilities.
Yeah, that I was really weak.
Yeah, exactly. It's that you're so feeble.
Yeah.
So then, where we left our heroes, I believe, was you guys having a chat at an open air kind of like a cantina or a almost like a pavilion. The sun beating down on you. This isn't a binary system, I don't think. What do you guys wish to do next? I think we had left with you reaching the conclusion of like, well, shit, maybe we need to do something about this.
Yeah.
Though I did appreciate the stomach churning uncertainty when you guys were discussing potential human trafficking. Well, maybe if we get them on board, then we would. Like, oh boy. We're human trafficking, but we're doing it with a good purpose.
Well, to set the person free.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
There's lots of grey, and we don't really know. We don't really know the relative moral stances of, or indeed dangers of, the three factions.
Yeah.
You know, we don't. There's such a lot we don't know. And yes, it is a 14-year-old person that is incarcerated against their will, and is being used crudely as a bargaining chip for whatever power plays are going on Hilfer. But what we don't have, and we're not going to have, is a proper step back on the intricacies and depths of this, tawdry power struggle.
Again, I will say, does it matter whether the 14-year-old is the child of a villain or a hero?
No.
So.
Dane has not had to deal with the complexities of reasons for action in past. I don't mean that as a joke. I mean, literally, he's a lot of his life has been, prior to leaving the service, point him in a direction and he does it, right?
That's right. And I will have gone in and done things that I knew were dubious. And, I was only following orders, goes so far. But right now, I don't have to do any of this. We don't have to do any of this.
That is true.
We do not have to do this. And if we do this, I'm going to hold you all to the same standards in other situations, which are probably even more compelling. And if we're going to do the white knight thing, or whatever, how you want to describe it, that's fine. But I ain't going to forget this.
I'm laughing because I'm seeing Dr. Ellis be like, yeah, absolutely. It's just, absolutely what you should hold us to. And the other's like, oh, hold on. What the...
Okay. Anyway. Where's my gas rifle?
Alonso, Captain Ghani, did you have something you wish to say as well?
I don't have anything to add. I mean, I definitely think the right thing is to do something. We can't leave with this knowledge and not, help this girl. in some way, even if it's just alerting her family that we know where she is and whatever. We got to do something.
Okay, well, let's find her and get her free.
Because what we're proposing to do otherwise is potentially help her kidnappers get away. So I think either way we're embroiled with this. We don't know for sure these guys are embroiled, but there's grounds to think it. So we're involved whatever we do.
Yeah.
Wonder how much she's worth.
Let's rescue the girl and leave Dane on this planet.
One way of rescuing her might be to agree to Michaela and Gorg and say, hey, yeah, we can provide passage. Then instead of us having to comb the desert to find her, they bring her to us. Mm-hmm. I know that Dane will say there's lots of dangers then if they're have her and they're in tight spaces and guns go off. I get that, but maybe that might be a way of having them bring her to us and then we can rescue her. Or we can try and find her in this vast, barren wasteland.
There is a middle ground that Alonso could point out is muckraking. There's certainly ways you could potentially find out where this person might likely be. And there may be resources that... one thing we talked to kind of briefly about last time was the intercessor.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the intercessor's knowledge of this is, and what do you think their position on this is?
Well, we could ask.
I think we discussed it a little bit, and we thought that the intercessor would not be involved in this kind of thing, but
there's being involved, and there's shaping and involvement that they can deny.
I think they're probably aware, just maybe wanting to see where it falls, keeping the balance between the three factions. But they're definitely aware, I would say, given their vast psychic powers and the way they found Alonso and all of that. I can't imagine them not being aware.
Well, and their practical surveillance as well, too, with the intercessor's eyes seemingly everywhere.
Well, aware that the girl is missing, but do you think aware of who has her and what's going on? To that level? You think they just are kind of all-knowing on this planet?
No,
I think it would be a safer assumption. Maybe they know exactly where. They know if the eyes, keep all of the desert in their visual range. But I think they probably know that she's been taken, and we have a good idea of who's taken her. But I think they just want to let it play out to see, factions rise and fall, to keep the balance between them and to not get involved overtly. I think they imagine their situation is also a bit precarious.
What do you think a worst case scenario for the intercessor might be?
Well, to be seen as taking sides, I guess.
A dissolution of a faction.
Yep.
And the strong strengthening of a particular faction that would be able to dominate over others for a lengthy period of time would be probably not what they want. They want to keep, as you say, Dr. Ilias, quite rightly, the balance between the three. And that's difficult.
With those two goals in mind, keeping their obvious interference out of view and preventing any one from seizing control, how might they wish to see this resolved then?
Probably to see the girl safely returned. I mean, I don't think that she's her missing is more of an imbalance than her death, right? Her death may strengthen one faction.
So that would save the one faction dominating over others. How might he keep his hand out?
Have us do it.
That's shocking. Shocking to
Very
suggest
shocking.
that.
I think as long as she's removed as being a bargaining chip, that's the key thing, surely.
Yeah.
You know, it's the leverage that she has that's the danger. If she ceases to exist, she's no longer a danger. I'm not suggesting we would liquidate her, but you know, I'm just saying it's probably the leverage that she has to force the faction to act that is the danger.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I've just been doing this for too long.
We appreciate
That's
it
both
when
Dane
you
and Graham. I'm just like, man, I've seen too much.
And Dane, we always
There are
appreciate
not
when you
ones that'll be
clarify.
haunting me to my grave. Sorry, James, I'm talking over you. Go ahead.
No, Dane, we always appreciate when you clarify those points. It is very helpful.
It is.
So how do we find her? How do we find her?
Well, I think we know from the surveillance footage that we acquired with the help of Ultima 1 from the ES hostel that we so vaguely know they left, came back, and then left for like 9 days. So I think we have a vague idea of, I guess we can sort of triangulate, depending on mode of transport, how far out into the desert they went. And they bought some equipment. Or we could ask, as Alonso suggested, we could ask around. I guess we could talk to Batu, our liaison, see if she can give us more information about Altan or what's happening with Genzerik's horde.
Because if we can find out how they left, what did they hire? Because they must have hired something rather than own it. So if we can find out where they hired it and what they hired, then as you say, it's in a 4-day radius probably.
And with, I guess, what's one other thing you know about outsiders who come to Hilfer?
We'll get a designated liaison.
So there's probably someone who knows everything that these folks have done while on planet.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah. Good one.
So, what is your first step here?
Well, we talk to our designated liaison to talk to their designated liaison. I'll get my people to talk to your people.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what faction that their designated liaison comes from. Anyone want to make a guess?
I'm going for the Fire Dog faction myself.
Hey, look at that. As they say, it's not Captain Ganny's first time to this space rodeo. So if you contact, because you've got the designated comm unit things, and you contact message liaison Batu, and she answers and says, "Captain, curious, I was just about to contact you. I've had a curious development occur, and I've been approached by someone who specifically is interested in your services." What were you contacting me for? Just checking on progress?
No, I've got a specific thing, but do tell us. You go first.
I think this is something better discussed in person, Captain. Where might...
Perfect.
Where are you presently?
Remind me, we're on the ship? We're in the TSA, aren't we?
No, you were at a open air pavilion having drinks.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Sorry. Well, that's too obvious, I guess. So, at the TAS, would that be acceptable?
In your quarters or in the... I'm picturing for here, it's Class B, so there probably is living quarters in there, and then check-in stuff for the TSA. Not TSA, the what do you call it?
TAS.
TAS. TSA. But there probably is a lot of, like, there is going to be a third party, you know, there's that first dive bar you guys went to. You could go there, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, depending on if it's super secret, then we can do it in my room, or else we can meet at the outsourced bar at the TSA. TAS.
No, you're doing it.
I think
always happens.
Stop going through my luggage.
She agrees that the bar is likely sufficient and wishes not to. That is a typical venue. She'll give you an alternate address.
Okay. And may I bring others
I would...
of the team?
It might be good to bring your crew, yes.
Excellent. Let's all meet up.
So, how would you guys like to make your way? It turns out it's in part of kind of like the warehousing of the low port, which is quite busy nowadays, at least since they've shut down the servicing because of labor action in the high port. There is a fair amount of people kind of coming and going in the warehousing, but it's spread out, and there's a lot of... It looks like there's a lot of like independent operators who suddenly are like, you know, clearing out their buildings and making use of them as warehouses. And this is one of the addresses she has sent you to. A place that isn't properly a warehouse, but since they've prevented people from, you know, servicing on the high port right now, people are making a mint doing warehousing activities on the surface. Do you wish to keep a low profile, or do you not worry if anyone's following you, or...
Could this be a trap?
Always.
No.
Like, what if we've probably have been seen talking to these two, and if Genseric hordes suspect something?
Yeah, possibly, but she seems to be well disposed towards us. So. And if it's still, she doesn't want to do it in complete private, so massacring us in a public bar would still be. If they're going to do that, they could do that anywhere, right?
Mm.
Fair.
It's just supposed to make me feel better.
Yeah.
Well, it just means I think that's not the intention then. They wouldn't need to have a weak pretense like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she has sent you to if you're just going to make your way there as if like nothing is, you know, awry, you're not trying to like take back alleys and ditch any, you know, tails or anything like that. At the very least, why doesn't everyone give us a D6 roll? Let's see how much luck we have to play with today.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I need to grab my TAS dice, too. Wow. Hey!
Lots of pressure.
Oh, that's definitely a... Look at that!
Come on, finish it.
There
Well
we go.
done, boys. Well done.
Oh!
Definitely.
There you go.
go.
That's how you do it.
This is why he's in charge.
Captain to the rescue.
Wow.
Portends well for the coming year, guys. That's great. So, here's what... let's see here. As far as you can tell, there is no one else who is tailing you, apart from the eyes of the intercessor. You make your way towards this building, and it looks like this building may have been like a stable or something similar that has been hastily converted over into more of a warehousing facility, complete with relatively newly installed doors in the side, and still a bit of an aroma of its former usages. You can't shake that smell quite easily. What you do find is that there doesn't seem to be a lot of people working around this thing. There is a moderate level of activity in the other, kind of surrounding neighborhood, as it were. This is all sort of spread out around the central spire of that big Sindalan structure that you guys were in last session to meet with the Intercessor. Any particular concerns you want to make as approaching this place, or are you just going to walk up to the man door, and head on in?
I guess Dr. Abdal would look around to see if we are being followed by anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might look like they belong to the fire dogs or
Yeah,
someone
I
else.
think standard precautions, but I don't think we want to make a big clandestine song and dance about meeting our own liaison.
Sure.
Right.
So, Dr. Abdel definitely playing into Tila Toral's suspicions here. But why don't you give us a recon check there, Dr. Abdel? And we'll roll with advantage because you got a lot of your colleagues assisting you with this. Okay. As far as you can tell, there's no one following you here. There's no one waiting to see, although, of course, the eye of the intercessor is still drifting above you. Though I'm assuming you guys haven't done anything like split up to see who the eye is following or anything like that.
No, I think
We hadn't done it, way, no.
Okay.
Dr. Dell assumes it's Alonso predominantly.
Yeah. Pretty safe assumption. So then you guys make your way in, and there is a local helper who is kind of working on a little, relatively speaking, primitive computer terminal. They look up and they just nod. This room seems to have been, it's a prefab kind of walls and roof and whatnot that would lead you into the rest of the structure that has been cleared out, and then there is warehousing. You could see through into it. There's now like racks of prefab shelving that has been set up to help with servicing the interstellar trade as opposed to whatever this previous purpose was. You need not make another recon check to know that it's a little worse smelling in here. Yeah. If you think that, really, think of any zoo enclosure with a large, mammal, any elephant, hippo, rhino kind of facility. That's about the approximation of what you're going to get in here.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So, making your way into the warehouse, you can see through the rows of different, size storage units and transport canisters and crates. You can see Batu and leaning on her staff, and she is doing something on her tablet, sees you, stops whatever she's doing, stuffs it into a leather, like kind of custom-made, saddle bag, as it were. And she says, "Thank you for coming. Come. There's no one else listening here."
Okay, so tell us. Why the mystery as well?
Oh, it's I bring a mystery with me as well, Captain. I've been working as an intercessor for about 8 months now, and I've dealt with many offshore crews coming and going. And not all of them are commission-based, as you have negotiated here. So that was a little unusual. But I can tell you that I've never had a trader approach and insist on presenting the opportunity to transport rare radioactive materials to Drinax and insist on it being presented to you as an opportunity. Now, I will not turn down a commission, and I will not... I am eager to see my role as a liaison filled appropriately. This is, if you have the money to finance this kind of speculative trade, this could be extremely lucrative for all of us. But I'm also not a fool. And I want to ensure that whatever is going on, it will not come back on me through the intercessor. I run clean trade here. So, Captain.
Okay. Tell me.
In the interest...
What gives you concern?
My concern is that I have never seen someone as fortunate to be insistent. I take it that... Hold on here. You've never dealt with Megagen before, have you?
No.
You don't know the name Megagen?
No, tell me more. This is all news to me. As you know, we've just arrived here, so...
Well, it's curious because Megagen seems insistent that this deal be presented to you, and I've dealt with Megagen before. This is... To call it a gift would be... If you are smuggling or attempting to do so, it would be best you let me know so we can pursue alternatives. I do not wish to run afoul of the Intercessor, and I appreciate my position. I am mindful that I am given his trust to see to the best benefit of both you and Hilfer. But I will not be party to smuggling.
That is very honorable of you, and if I may, Captain, to put your fears at ease. Alonso and myself had a meeting with the Intercessor earlier today. So we can assume that
sort of looking back and forth, you two
are awarded are with blessings.
You... Why? And she seems to almost ask that unbidden. Like, she's not interrogating you. She seems genuinely perplexed. Like, why the fuck would they meet with you guys?
Right.
We
Maybe
were as surprised
more fame.
as you are. Alonso here is a famous journalist and author. I can highly recommend his first book, Crime Caper. Fascinating read.
You've met with the Intercessor.
That's right.
And you just almost see pieces fall into place, you know, behind her eyes. I see.
Yes.
Then, and you can see it kind of, she realizes that there is something else that needs to be done now. Then I apologize for the accusations.
Not at all. Not at all. First of all, we are very impressed with your moral stance in a highly charged trifactional system and planet where I'm sure there are never, or I'm sure there are the opportunities for these kind of deals surfacing for a range of reasons which are not, as you rightly say, to the better benefit of Hilfer as a whole.
You have it rightly. There.
Oh, I'm sure.
Then I am sorry. And if you have the finances, we are all about to be quite rich.
It would be useful, he said, looking at his spreadsheets askance to his right, to have further practical details on this particular deal to understand whether it can be leveraged or not.
Understood. There are still particulars of bartering that will need to be engaged in to complete the transaction, but I can tell you, mining is a extremely lucrative activity that is very jealously guarded by a minority of our peoples, and who enjoy a minority of benefits. And because of those resources and the value that can come from them, how was it put? A hard bargain is normally driven for these things. This is more a gift, and I feel the opening position is but a paper defense that will collapse on insistence from you. I would if you wish to engage in barter with them, I expect that it will be slightly... They may not even get their processing costs back. There is a great deal of money to be made from this. So
are we talking... We're talking radioactives here.
Yeah, so you guys would know that this is not only a resource that does come from Hilfer. There is radioactive materials that are used in advanced, manufacturing. They're available here. They're normally pretty fucking expensive for it. They're also extremely in high demand in Drinax because they need that stuff to be able to not only keep things going, but also to manufacture what they need to keep things. There is a, flying city that needs to be kept in the air. There's enormous profits that can be made there. There's a ripe market for it, and if you can get it for rock bottom prices here, there's huge amounts of money that can be made.
Ooh. This all sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just passing through some calls.
Yeah.
Well, standard trade details.
What this also comes down to is the negotiation for when you purchase it and negotiation for when you sell it. And if you happen to have someone putting their thumb on the scale when you're purchasing, then it's profits for you to lose when you sell it at a place that is eager to receive it. Particularly if whatever secret message that you are delivering weighs in your favor in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on page 243 of the 2022 book. Is for what you can get for the modified purchase price. It can be as bad as 300% of the listed price, but as low as 15%. And the sale price, as bad as 10% of the purchase price, or listed price, up to as high as 400% of the listed price.
Yeah.
Do we have money to make such a deal?
We are not, as you know, we are operating on a low initial capital base. Let's put it that way. So our current funds are running at 1.1. If we can mega credits. So if we can leverage a really good deal on however many tons of radioactives we're talking about, thumbs on scales allowing, then we should certainly invest significantly in this. And I'd say we risk a substantial amount of our funds to do this. It's just going to come down to what, as we've been told, what the purchase price is going to be as to how much we can take across. If it's a ton, and it's a base radioactive price, only base, that's 1 million credits. If we can get the price down to say 50%, 500,000, we could take 2 tons at a really low purchase price, and then it's down to how we sell it.
Yeah, and depending on how firm the thumb is on the scale, a really good roll would be like 60% of the price. An extraordinarily good one would be 50%.
Yeah, I mean that's pushing it right up.
Yeah, and the purchase price per ton is 1 million credits. If, say, you could get 2 tons, so it's D6 tons of it. No, that's how much is available, right?
Yeah, so it just depends
Yeah.
how much in this particular deal is available.
Yeah. And then for selling, the sale DM is +1 for high tech, which Drenax does have. I don't think it has industrial.
I mean, just to be inventive here, I'm pushing things a little bit. We've got 1 million credits. That's what we've got. Now, were we to take out a loan, I mean, I said it would be a substantial loan on the basis that we can repay it. We'd have a lot of time, of course, so I'm getting carried away. We do have other pressures, which slows it down. But the other thing to do is to gain more capital to speculate. And
I mean, I'd be willing to risk some of my personal wealth.
Oh, okay, you've got some. I didn't know you had some.
Not much. I put most of it into
Alonso,
our
how much
ship.
you got?
You've been holding out. You son of
Under
a...
18,000 credits.
Oh
Not a
man,
ton.
man, you could buy a holiday with that.
Yeah, well, this is I'm a famous writer. I have some residuals.
Jeez. I don't know.
Even
I'm just
with-
thinking aloud.
Depending on how cheap you can get it for, and from what she said, like, expect an overwhelmingly rock bottom price.
Yeah.
At a moderate roll for the captain's brokering, and given the other factors, you could possibly double your money.
Yeah.
That's at a reasonable expectation. If you roll even better, or if there's other things that are, putting thumbs on the scale on Drenax, that may likewise affect things.
The sale DM, the sale DM for radioactives then. So what is a good place to sell? So we're going to Drenax.
Drenax is an ideal place for that.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah.
It should be, shouldn't it? High tech, maybe. Industrial, maybe.
I don't think it's industrial, but it is definitely high tech.
High tech gives us +1. That's something.
And it's only one jump that you'd have this stuff taking a room in your cargo then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it matters less with speculative, but yeah, okay. So it's a good place to sell. Well, we need to find out what the deal is then, don't we? How much is available?
From the sounds of things, as much as you can afford.
Well, we should put the whole million in.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, we've got 1.17 altogether. We throw it in.
Captain, how do you feel about that?
No, let's go for it then.
All right then.
Doctor?
Yeah, sounds good.
So then
Won't get a better chance than this.
we will engage in your bartering then. She says, well, she sort of gets caught up in her work, partly because this is going to benefit all of you guys. And then she stops and it's like, wait, you contacted me as well. What was the reason for that? Captain?
Well, yes, we've come to hear that a certain young person has gone missing. You may have heard, I'm sure.
The color drains from her face.
You have then. We have some suspicions as to who conceivably could be behind it. And some off-worlders, no less. Not entirely behind it, but who may have made it happen. Possibly for other parties.
You have the names of these outsiders?
Well, first,
And the way she
what is
says
your
that,
reaction to that?
I'm not communicating the level of gravity in her voice when she says that. It is you have the names of them.
I have to say, this is all speculation on our part. We have no hard evidence. But our crew, the story of what we heard doesn't ring right with us. So we thought we should find out more nonetheless, even though our suspicions may be entirely groundless. As I said, we have no evidence whatsoever other than, the skepticism that comes from people who travel the reaches.
eyes
So
go over to the doctor and to Alonzo once again, and while not saying that, you can feel it's so you met with the intercessor, eh? She comes back to you.
I want you to just understand that if I share these names, you shouldn't feel that we have any evidence that should give you too much concern. Our main interest is to investigate the possibility and possibly prove that there's no grounds to it.
And if it proves that there is merit to what you've heard, what is your intention then?
Our intention would be to do the best for the young person.
She seems to fully understand things now. You get the look. She's like, man.
We don't want to prejudge anything. We're just, that would be our goal. But what that might entail, we don't know.
And we were hoping you'd be able to give us more information as someone who we believe is part of the wrong party.
The wrong party.
So these people being off-worlders, we think they would have needed to have obtained some transport to do, if they were involved, to do what they would want to do. And we'd be interested in finding out what that transport was.
And what do you
that
intend
might help
to do?
us in narrow down where they may have gone.
If this person is indeed missing, and if this person can be found, and if you can find where this person is, what do you intend to do then?
As I said, do whatever we think is in the best interest of the young person. Until we know the facts and circumstances, it's difficult to say what that action would be. We are not looking for, financial gain or anything like that out of it.
She looks at the
we make our own
tablets, and she looks up at you. She's like, "I would think not."
we make plenty of, such things are not our trade. We make our money in different ways.
We usually deliver the mail.
Exactly, we're FedEx.
She says, I normally fancy myself a good judge of character. I can see that I have thoroughly misjudged you and your crew, Captain Gani. I don't recognize you or your name or your ship. Have you been to our world before? Before the Intercessor?
No, all new to me.
Any of you?
I don't think so. I think you'd have remembered me if I had.
She looks at you briefly like, what the fuck does that mean? And then she says, then you do not know what things were like before the Intercessor. You talk about wronged factions or the wronged parties. The perception of the wronged parties is at the root of every problem that we have seen in my lifespan, in the lifespan of my father, in the lifespan of his father. It is always the wronged party driving actions and driving conflicts, which spurn the next wrong party.
Well, you touched the nail on the head. The cycle of retaliation. And of course, in my time as a scout and in the Navy, you've seen on the frontier, we've seen plenty of that sort of cycle of violence. And that's why I was hedging my comments about what were we going to do once we found out, because we don't want to get into that cycle.
She powers down her tablet. She says, let's speak plainly then. Because I wish there to be no misunderstanding. If what you intend to do is to return this girl so that vengeance can be taken on another, then I wish to have no part in this. Because whether violence comes from her being taken, or from vengeance being placed back on, or from vengeance coming back, this is more of what we saw before. And all this, and she gestures at all the crates around, none of this is possible.
Again, I think you may misunderstand us.
I have done nothing but
to...
so thus far.
And I think you continue to do so.
We want to do what's right for her, but equally not react with undue haste, which may lead to unfortunate consequences down the line. We can imagine that this is a very sensitive matter, and that's why I'm being cagey. Because I don't want to promise that we're going to rush in to do, to save one party from another party.
And the reality is,
look on the benefits of the one. Yeah.
Indeed.
Go ahead.
And if I may say, Batu, the actions we're undertaken are specifically such that we are not engaging in what doubtless are further and deeper complexities to the situation. We're treating it, if you like, simply and plainly at face value, which is, I agree, a little foolish, but at the same time, it absolves of us getting involved in any of the internecine complexities that you allude to, which doubtless and clearly still exist, despite the presence of the intercessor.
Then you have the full measure of it. You wish to return her without disruption. Do I have that?
We wish to see her safe.
That's it.
She fires up the tablet again. What is the name of the off-worlder?
We have two, don't we?
Yeah.
Mikhail Belova and Gok.
And Gok. She goes through.
It's a Viagra name. It may be a little longer than that.
It's a man. Kashin. I'll chat for you. Oh, and Megajin is this.
Yeah, I spelt it wrong. Yeah.
Not all of us have, went to Mongolian high school, so.
I too went.
Kashin, he is, and Kashin is a fire dog. She looks up at, trying to study the reactions when you guys hear that it's a fire dog. I see that's not a surprise to you, is it?
No.
Indeed. Sadly predictable, almost.
I see that in the interest of fairness between the three factions, we see parties rotated through. They were to have someone from the True Kings assigned to them, and it appears there was a trade made so that the fire dogs could deal with them. This is unusual. So the fire dogs have her.
Potentially.
How can I
What
help?
our evidence had indicated.
Then how can I help?
Well,
We would like to find out what transport these people used when they left. and that would help us get a feel for where the child may have been taken. We understand they were away for 9 days, so logically that would suggest they traveled about 4 days out and 4 days back, with maybe 1 day in between.
All transactions that off-worlders engage in must be registered through a liaison, and Kashin is as greedy as he is stupid. I expect he insisted on all of their transactions being so logged. We would have to access the database that manages the disbursements to liaisons. I think I might have someone who might be able to hack it. Now, you guys can rest assured you likely have someone who is much better at that. If you wish to offer it. You certainly can go through a local, find a Ganzrig, someone allied with Ganzrig Horde, or at least someone she trusts to do it, but you guys do have, Ultima.
Right.
Do you wish to offer, or you want to let her do that?
I think Ultima's going to be immeasurably better at doing this, and is less likely to create a trail or alert.
I guess it depends on whether Ultima can do it from the ship or has to go somewhere
Yeah.
to access this database. Because presumably they're better off kept on the ship and not creating a bit of a stir when the super advanced.
We cut back to the ship, and there's a ping pong table that's set up in the empty cargo hold. The two of them like.
He might cause a stir. Go ahead, try that. Can he do it from the ship? Do we know?
You could effectively through a router. If you had something, a local router that would be able to access the database there, then yeah, he could definitely do that. Which is something you guys could do. It's not like a router, but you know what I mean, like a thing that would be, that would be serving as a carrier for whatever his computer is doing back on the ship. To do that, you would need to have someone either smuggle in a device, something like that, or one of you guys could do something like that. She needs to have access to this, so she would be happy doing so.
Just checking my skills on that.
Sure.
Anybody good at electronics?
Yes.
Cool.
Medium. Pretty good.
Okay.
Thank you for volunteering.
Alonzo's not afraid to get his hands dirty.
Okay. So that would be a matter of getting something into the access point for the data for the thing. I mean, to be honest, it's all of these tablets. It's through this sort of networked thing that all of their transactions are registered. They all have to log in sort of with the central database to be able to register every transaction with off-world people. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of them when it's a low port, and people are being forced down to the low port. There's a lot of different access terminals from, the central database all the way down to, the places where every one of these warehouse people that you're seeing work in this whole neighborhood, every one of them is going to have to register their work through a liaison, which will then go back to the central database. There's probably a central point here you could access. So it would be a matter of one of you with the electrical wherewithal to be able to set it up so that it will serve as a carrier for, or not a carrier, a junction maybe, or like a whatever. I'm doing that Star Trek thing where I'm talking about like things in metaphor as opposed to the actual functioning of the technology. So I believe a social sciences person running your game. What with your knowledge, Alonso, of electronics computers, you could likely do that.
Yeah, okay, I can take care of that.
Okay. once you have access to that information, what's your plan next? Or you want to cross that bridge first?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
See what Kashin has built in relation to them?
Yeah.
Okay. So then it will be a matter of being inconspicuous while doing this. How is your... I think it's stealth, Alonso?
Stealth.
I have a 2 in stealth.
It's pretty good for Traveler.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you give us a stealth roll with advantage?
It's with a boon.
Or boon, thank you. Yeah.
Is there
Wrong
a way
game,
to
Madison.
turn it on?
Also, do you want to take a short rest?
Does it ask you when you're...
No, at
It's
the very
top of the
top of the
sheet.
sheet, you can go
Oh.
Boon, Normal, Bane.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually highlighted to normal, but you have to tell it.
Yeah, that we have. Yeah.
Holy
Nice.
smokes. Yeah, so
Wow.
Alonso, you might as well, I think, like, perhaps as you're leaving, you know, you stop and grab some of the, like, what are they, the keffia, the head wrap, that style of thing, wrap yourself up so you look like a Helfer local, and you and Batu make your way out into the busy, you know, warehouse district.
Nice.
As you're walking your way along, she says, "You're certain you know how to do this?"
Fairly certain. Never specifically done this, but
If we are caught, this will lead to a revocation of my license.
we won't get caught.
You're completely inconspicuous as you make your way over to this. I think it's just going to be a computers 8. So give us an electronic computers check here as you are trying to access the junction and set it up in such a way that...
We have 9 luck.
I'm very good at
Oh
this.
my god.
No, that was roll of boon, I'll bet you, though, wasn't it? Oh, it wasn't!
No, I turned it back off.
Holy shit, you're just that good.
I get a +4 on that one.
Yeah.
I'm really
So-
actually quite good at computers.
With that, I think you could even conceivably have sped up the time
Nice.
on it. So what do we see? As you can picture, there's all sorts of a variety of different like vehicles, like tractors and whatnot, and forklifts that are making their way around here on various tech levels. Animals dragging stuff in some cases. What do we see you doing as you access this, dressed in your disguise?
He probably is just so used to, you know, undercover work that he just sort of fits right in. Like the people almost, you know, are like treating him like he's one of them without even thinking about it. And, you know, he's just so used to speaking back to them and fitting right in that it's all second nature.
Okay. So you easily get yourself disguised. It's a matter of a couple of minutes of tinkering around with that. And perhaps even if someone walks by, you sort of like, hey, you know, wave at them as if like you,
Right,
you're supposed
exactly.
to
That's
be
what I
there.
mean. Like, it's just like so smooth that it's like,
Yeah.
you know.
And you seem to complete what you're doing or what's needed without any incident. And you can hear over the comm that I imagine you've got open as well, too. I have access. Thank you, Mr. Centauro.
You're welcome.
And it is the transactions of these two individuals you wish.
Yes.
This seems to be the case. And something displays on Batu's tablet. She nods. We have them. So, with that, you close up your, kind of unit, and you head your way back. If you have them as well, you may wish to remove... Do you want to leave in the links so you could, backdoor into there at a later time, or do you want to remove it?
Probably remove it, because I don't want to leave any trace here, and, we may not want to come back here.
Okay. So you remove that and get it back. That... when Batu asks you, wait, what are you doing? When you go back to remove it.
Oh, you are expecting that we leave this here?
No, carry on. to remove it.
Yeah.
And you guys are heading back. We skipped because we were starting late and then we're going late. I skipped our mid-session break. Why don't we take our mid-session break now, and then we'll have our last hour of the session afterwards. So as Alonzo arrives back at... Are the rest of you just waiting at the warehouse in the interim? Or would you head elsewhere?
That's where just grabbing a coffee or something, making it look like we've done our business dealings with Batu, and then we went to sort of celebrate or discuss the specifics.
Probably do something very innocuous, like just check the standard sort of trading packets that are available.
Yeah.
You know, just look at the mail.
Yeah. Okay.
All that kind of standard stuff. Really sort of just keep it flat and.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that is perfect. Where you guys will meet up with Alonso and Batu once again. So we'll take a 5-minute break here, and then we'll come back and see what happens next. So back moment. Okay. Truly, there is no cheese puff better than the I'm breaking my fast cheese puff. Holy shit. And it really, the intermittent fasting hasn't been an issue for me as far as like, you know, like starving or whatever else or feeling woozy or anything like that. But if I push it past the time I'm supposed to start eating, like that first little bit of food you eat, holy shit, does it taste good. Okay. Then, with Alonso returning, and with the information now, what you learn is that Kashin arranged for the hiring of some animals, and they are here. The kind of beasts of burden you see in the center there, they are the Rokus. A fairly steady-footed. They may look sturdy and you know, as kind of slow and ponderous as like a rhino or something like that, but they're actually leaner. They have what do you call it? They have the horn like a rhino too, but their bones and their bone structure is more akin to a like high strength bird bone kind of thing. They're a much lighter animal than what you would expect. But the Rakus, they arranged for hiring of some of them along with some guards, and they hired out enough supplies for the entire period there as well. And I'm trying to think, is there anything that you would be interested in? She doesn't necessarily know what to be looking for. Is there any information you guys are specifically looking for?
I guess, does the number of supplies, is it more than you would need for that number of people to go out and come back, or does it look like they have enough supplies to sort of leave behind?
So the Rakus, in keeping with their weight, you know, they're fine about carrying a reasonable amount of weight, but they can't carry heavy loads. The little things you see down here, these guys are better at for kind of like pack animal stuff. They managed to hire which is a very unusual purchase for it. There's a hover truck that they have hired in addition to that, and that thing seems to have been gone for the entire period that it was there. It looks like it was used to transport some kind of there's some kind of cargo, but there wasn't any insurance on the cargo or anything like that. Whatever it was done, it was gone for that period. And I think, Alonso, you would know there's a chance that even though it may be disabled or may have difficulty, the ambient tech level in here on this planet would still have some ability to interact with GPS. So,
oh, okay, yeah.
If this vehicle had was used by them, potentially there's a GPS like tracking that's embedded into the thing. So a safety feature, unless you think to turn the thing off, then it's something that would be functioning on these things. Or, you know, if you didn't know how to turn it off. You may not make use of it. Yeah, like you may not make use of it, but like as a safety feature, there's sort of always like a backup for logging where you are. And unless you are really mindful of turning it off, you may be able to get some information from it.
I would point that out to the guys. could be some GPS information available.
Alternatively, Batu knows the name of the person. Let's see here. Samga is the woman who runs the rental. She is Fire Dog as well, though, so in spite of the purported alliance between the three factions, it's not unusual for them to point secondary services to be provided by their factions people rather than spreading the joy around. If you can send off-worlders to go and get service by your own faction, why would you send them elsewhere? Any other questions of the...
We get the names of the guards they hired?
You have the names of the... Oh, they didn't hire anyone to go along with them. The guide. Sorry, yes, they did. They did hire a guide to go along with them. Yes, they did. You got the name of that. It is also someone of the Fire Dog faction, and that is Chilagun. I'll put that in chat. Sorry, I'll put both those names in chat, and I'll put their roles here. And there's probably a better word than hover truck renter, but Chilagun, if you do a little bit of searching for availability, is in the low port somewhere. Oh, thanks, Don. Suggestion for I can't remember the name of the cheese puffs I got, but it was from some like small manufacturer. We also have the Canadian proud tradition of the cheesies. If you're from Western Canada, cheesies are a staple of most parents' cupboards, I think.
Yeah, my dad is addicted to them.
Oh yeah, my dad too. Like the So that's what you guys have found thus far. You got the name of someone who rented these folks some animals and a hover truck, and you got the name of a guide who went with them.
Well, I think it's reasonable to check for this GPS information. Might give us an exact location if they didn't think to disable it.
And with you being one of the #1 computer experts in the subsector, I go with yes.
So how would you like to access that? It is unlikely that it would have wireless access, so you may need to get yourself physically on the premises in order to access it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we can do that.
So that would be a matter of like breaking into a vehicle storage yard, an animal storage yard, for that matter.
Yeah.
I will tell you one downside. There is no GPS on the Rokus, so you will not be able to interrogate that from them.
Yeah, who's going to come with me?
I mean, we not also just try to hire the truck.
Oh, hire the same
I mean,
truck.
I mean, we know the specifics of it, right? It's there on your display, so could we not just go in and try and just hire it
I like that idea.
instead of risking more violence? And
Yeah.
Dr. Abdel is eminently, Dr. Ilias, forgive me, is eminently more reasonable, or far too reasonable than the rest of like, we're going to get into this, we'll get our
Yeah, we're gonna
back camel
sneak in
mask on, and
there.
we'll, guys,
adventure.
let's fucking rent the truck. It is taking away the, infiltration thing, but yeah, you absolutely, I think there is, let's see here. There's probably a 1 in 6 chance that it was hired out and otherwise is likely back from when these guys came back to town. So who wants to be the lucky one to try and not roll a 1?
Well, shall I do it, given the luck roll?
Yeah.
Famous, which means it's my turn to roll.
You roll one on it. Yeah, absolutely.
You got this.
So a 1 is the bad one?
1 is the bad
Yeah.
one, yeah.
It's all right. Not 1d8.
Nice.
There you go.
It's all right.
It is available for rental.
Right.
Not the holiday season then. Good.
There's not a lot of folks who want to go out into the deserts of Hilfer.
No.
I think these 3 factions are a bit of a, tense bunch. Just wait till you meet the factions who do not have any share at the table.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
So, this we can treat as just kind of a montage from today. Is it Dr. Ilias who goes and rents the thing?
Yeah, happy to do so.
Okay. So it'll be arranged. And I think... Ooh. Yeah. What's the... what I'm curious of, what I'm pausing for is whether Batu, because I was like, oh, Batu could probably do that for you, but you might want it not to be someone from Ganzerig's Horde who is renting this. And in which case, if you're keeping a low profile, what's Dr. Ilias's approach for that?
Would it be suspicious if it's not her doing it, seeing as she's our official liaison
Now,
and everything is meant? Yeah.
You have the thing that's going to be transmitting back to her. What she says, honestly, is as much of a reason you can give her to think that you have no real good reason to rent this. You don't want to make it clear that you are trying to get this for someone from Ganzerig's Horde, but also you don't want to ask, like, wait, why are you renting this? So you should have a good reason for why you're getting a hover truck on Hilfer. And this is sort of they come in a variety of things. This is the Jeeps of hover trucks, or Land Rovers of hover trucks for you Europeans. Much more rough and tumble.
What reasons would there be for going out into the desert here? Sightseeing?
Sightseeing is definitely a possibility. There is a limited amount of that out here. It might be for short-range transport, too. If you want to be transporting something from one place to another one. It might be to be transporting, if you have a deal with someone dealing with cargo outside, then maybe that's a thing. If you have a transaction with one of the outlying communities, that might be that you want to see through to the destination. Perhaps that might be a way of doing it, where you're not going to bring your whole ship out there. I welcome any other suggestions as well. Hey, come on. Get away from there. Get away from there. Anna says hi. What do you guys think? Any other conceivable reasons why you might want to rent this thing?
Well, for Dr. Ilias, it might be a case of taking supplies and medicines out to one of the outlying communities. Maybe he's going to do some sort of, médecins sans frontières, going out to help offer his services while we wait for cargo in town to get sorted.
I think Batu could give you a name of a community or two to sort that out.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. So you're at their meeting with Sangha, who is like a older, scruffier version of Batu. This will be just fine. It'll get you out to where you need to go. Shouldn't cause any problems with you. Do you need a guide as well? Things can be a little hairy out there.
We have our designated liaison. We're fine.
Oh, you've got someone help. I see.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be great.
But thank you for the offer.
Yeah, it's very, very kind.
This thing is, it's plenty reliable, but it's not particularly comfy to ride in. Do you want to accompany it? We've got... How are you at riding?
I was waiting for him to do the thing at the airport where he says, "I've got an upgrade for you." It's a really good.
No, that's for me just a truck.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, just if you are, the Sezek bugs are up this time of year. So just be mindful to be careful where you're sleeping if you're spending time outside. And I keep the windows up as much as possible.
That is good to know.
Otherwise, it should be fine. We've got you co-signed here, and we've got your deposit. So how long do you want to... Sorry, how long were you intending on renting it for?
The community Batu gave us the name of. It's sort of a few hours out, few hours back, or would it make sense to have it for like a day?
Yeah, without accessing it too, conceivably they were gone for what, 9 days, we said?
Yeah.
So if they made like a beeline out, beeline back, at most, it's like 4.5 days out from here. If you need... Like, if you're concerned about the appearance of how long it's gone for, Batu can arrange for it to be returned afterwards. So if you want to fake that, you rented it for 2 weeks or whatever, they'll be able to arrange for it to be returned afterwards.
Right.
But I guess my question would be for the group then, do we want to hire it, find the coordinates if they're available, and then just head there, potentially with this truck? Or are we just want to find out, have it for a day, get the coordinates, and then use our hovercraft and hover bike to get to the coordinates?
Well, we've got hours, I guess, for...
I mean, I feel like we don't get to drive our vehicles enough, so...
Exactly, we've got plenty. We are the boys with the whole range now.
That hover bike in particular is much faster than, like, magnitudes faster than what this fucking hover truck would be. I think we said, like, last time it took you guys, you landed like an hour away from that landing spot. It took you, 10 minutes to get back on the bike?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
So, how long?
So I think Dr. Elias will just hire it officially for a day.
For a day, okay.
Yeah. Just send it, drive out, let Alonso hack the GPS, and come... Yep, so that it's
back
believable that we went out and did something and came back.
Okay.
Just a picnic.
Yeah. In the middle alien bug-filled desert. That sounds great. So you rent this thing and you drive it back to, I guess what you could go to the ship, I suppose. You could go to the warehouse that Batu has. What are you thinking?
The ship.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of linking it to anywhere where Batu was, just go to the ship, pretend to load up, or maybe actually load up some medical supplies if we do encounter this community.
Okay. So, and again, the only observation, or the only person observing that you can tell is the Intercessor's eye. So, you drive this thing back, You pull it up into the mostly empty cargo hold. And Alonso, do you wish to go to work?
Yes. Here we go. Oh no! That was a terrible.
It wasn't double. It wasn't snake eyes though. Snake eyes, we said you can't re-roll. That's still an 8. So with an 8, you'll be able to access it, but someone looking might be able to inspect it. I think if you, however many more points you want to put into, like if you want to put any luck into the roll, whatever
Right.
your final roll is, that will be how difficult it is for people to know you were tampering with it.
Right. Do we care? Do we care if it's clear we were tampering with this thing? What do you guys think?
Well, we could probably spend a couple of points to make it less likely, and
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, 8 is enough, but a couple of points just for good luck.
Yeah. I think if someone finds out that we tampered with it, that might endanger the girl. They go then, they're on to us, or they might move her.
Although I guess the person who's leasing it, the hire company probably don't know about what it was used for. But yeah, I think it's probably it's worth a couple of points maybe, if everyone else agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you buying up to? 10?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then you have that information. So now it is a matter of cross-referencing with your maps. And I'm trying to find skills here. This, I think, will be an investigate check here. Anyone want to take the lead on their investigate check?
I mean,
Alonso?
Give it that.
It's Alonso's time to shine on this planet.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, man.
I think this will take D6 hours of kind of analysis and cross-referencing. Okay. So this thing, over the course of the 9 days that they had it, it did seem to have a... it had a number of different places that it attended. One of them is on the edge of what do you call it? Of Ganzerig's horde territory. So it does seem like if you were to try and like be just on the cusp of a place where you're going to go in and kidnap somebody, definitely was there. And then it seemed to spend a fair bit of time near some, like, to call them mountains is really ambitious. It's more like glorified foothills that are just like the remnants of some of a mountain range that is formed about. Let me think here. It'd be about 20 hours drive. Directly from here in the truck. And that's not quite good enough to figure out what it is, but if you give us another point of luck, I think a 10 would likely do it.
Yeah. Let's do that.
So someone at some point over the centuries since this planet was kind of annihilated, made an effort. You may remember before this planet was kind of sent back as a what do you call it? As a desert planet. There was an incredibly advanced what do you call it? Irrigation system that was allowing this place to actually support the population that it had. And it's only the collapse of those is what caused Hilfer to kind of be where it is. And it seems that about 150, 200 years ago, there was some corporation that was trying to like reinvest and try and like rediscover might be the wrong word for it, but trying to create a similar type of anti-desertification, program or technology. The company's name doesn't really matter because it doesn't really exist any longer. But do you want to guess who the parent company was?
GDCO?
GDCO. We're always there. So there was this facility that was trying to research, new ways of introducing like atmospheric or humidity farming and irrigation technologies. That place has apparently been abandoned for a very long time, but just so happens this place where this GPS was stopped for a very long time is in this abandoned facility. So, what she can tell you, what Batu can tell you, is that the territory that's there, it is not Fire Dog territory, but it is a tribe that is not belligerent to them. So it is a faction that they may allow them to operate on their land for some benefit or for some future promise of a benefit. So, what are you guys thinking? What do you make of that?
Wow. How do we want to, like, are we thinking of actually heading out and finding them? Like, Alonzo is nervous about that idea, for sure.
Well, I guess we don't really know that she's there. See, if they've approached us to get off planet, no, but would they have wanted her somewhere closer? Presumably they would have someone keeping an eye on her.
Yeah.
They have risked bringing her into the port, the city where we are.
I think they want to keep. I think they want to keep her out of the way, wouldn't they? Try and minimize the risk. I
guess another question Dr. Ilias has is, I'm sure it's for political gain later, but they're trying to get her off planet, which I assume means they want to keep her alive and have no harm come to her. I think he's not entirely sure.
Right, like what their strategy is.
Yeah. Like, do they want to return her at a, like, sort of have her as a bargaining chip?
I mean, my sense would be that's what it is. If she's off planet, again, it de-risks any attempt to recover. Don't know.
Batu says, wait, they were trying to get you to take her off planet?
That is a working assumption that they approached us about passage and said they had a third passenger. We assume the missing girl. We might be wrong on this.
That is what triggered when we heard the story of the missing girl, that's what triggered our questions. But as the good doctor says,
because these two
we have no
characters
evidence.
have priors where people were kidnapped or have disappeared when they landed on a planet. So where some of this is based on assumptions.
The Fire Dog, any off-planet interests must go through a liaison for the intercessor. The Fire Dogs should... they're a desert tribe. They don't have interests off planet. They shouldn't have contacts off planet either. Who wants to get this girl off planet? And she sort of is, for a brief moment, looks like she's about to, get hostile with you guys again, and then sort of realizes, like, of course, like, if you're acting for the Intercessor, or at least at the Intercessor's interests, they don't want to get the girl off planet. So who off planet is trying to position the Fire Dogs? Who allies themselves with the Fire Dogs and positions themselves in a way to try and pressure another faction?
Somebody who wants to destabilize Hilfer.
Or to take things over.
Chidico.
I mean, do you think... Surely they wouldn't have...
governments.
They would have been waiting 2 centuries to make use of this facility as a kidnap base, would they?
No.
Would they?
Well, the other thought that Dr. Elias had is, what if it's not the Fire Dogs, but it's the 3 kings who want to finicky some sort of rivalry or tension, violence between the other 2 tribes, and then go like,
and
we're just stepping in.
Innocence.
Yeah, we're the neutral ones, we're the innocent ones, but these 2 just cannot be.
Yeah.
So it's nothing to do with the Fire Dogs.
It's pretty fucking hard to prove a negative, and proving you didn't kidnap someone would be a very challenging thing to do, unless you can present that person.
It's true.
So some of these problems... Oh, go ahead.
But for any of these machinations, they could just have her killed and pin the blame on another faction. So maybe they're humane enough to not want to see her come to harm by shipping her off somewhere. But
if the true kings had thought of such a thing, they probably they wouldn't be. They would not have qualms against them. And to be honest, if Ganzelrig's horde had a similar, make no mistake, Ganzelrig loves his daughter. But he is in the position he is in for a reason. And it does not... The true kings are no more likely to have off-world allies than the Fire Dogs are, or that Ganzelrig would. All such things have been arranged to be through the Intercessor. So there must be something else at play. But that is not the problem for this. Do you think this girl is at this facility? And
now let's have a think on this. If we were going to be leaving, they were getting the girl, they would have to retrieve her from that facility.
Or the vessel would go out to meet them there. People land at the starport because you can get services and things like that there. Nothing to prevent you from landing anywhere else on the planet. It's just there's nothing there.
Yeah,
all due respect to the Hilfer, viewers we have joining us today. Your planet is lovely.
You know you're going to get a lot of nasty comments.
Oh, I am. There's some Hilferites like, just so you know, the plateau of Shum is fantastic this time of year. So you don't know what you're talking about. Fair enough. Yeah, like you can go anywhere. There, you guys could pick up your ship and fly over there, no problem. It's just that there's no fuel there, there's no trade there, there's no, you might get blacklisted if you're trying to do backdoor deals with some of these factions that have fallen out of favor, or at least are not part of the tripartite alliance with what's his name, with the Intercessor.
No, but it doesn't prove anything, as you say. But it's sort of they hadn't brought it up before, so they hadn't mentioned. Oh, by the way, we're going to need to take a detour.
I mean, they only really obliquely talked to Dane, and I guess the other question that Batu might have is like, we know how Outlanders feel about dealing with us. Do you think that there would not be a ship that would agree to their terms? We assume the girl has not been taken thus far, but do you think you are the only crew that these bounty hunters approached?
Well, we could double check, the high volume traffic that comes through here and see, check manifests.
I can tell you all the dealings that are registered through a liaison we have access to now. But from what you tell, these bounty hunters wanted to go outside that process with you.
Correct.
In which case there would not be.
Correct.
Working assumption she's in this building then anyway.
But perhaps only as long as they have, until they find a crew willing to smuggle her off planet for whatever reason.
Yes, we could go back to Alonso's plan then of meeting with them, pretending or partially pretending we're able to offer them passage.
Right.
And see what they say, or if they then go, oh yes, can we fly out to these coordinates, or give us 2 days, we need to bring our friend. And see what they say, or if they then...
Remind me, how long will it take to get to the facility?
By their... so
By grab bike.
Yeah, by grab bike. I'll have to check the comparative speed. Give me a sec here.
Could do it both ways.
So by hovertruck. Hovertruck is medium speed. And there's 20 hours to get out there.
I could have there's space for 2 on the grab bike, isn't there? Sort of pillion.
Yep.
Okay. So how long would it take by grab bike?
All right, so medium is about an average of about 150 to 200 miles an hour.
Wow.
Kilometers an hour, not miles.
Okay.
So 150, those 20 hours, that's about 3,000 kilometers away. The grav bike, I believe, goes between 500 and 800 per hour.
Okay, that's 300 miles an hour. Anyway, how far is the facility?
The facility is about 3,000 kilometers away.
Wow, it's a fair way, isn't it?
Mm.
So 500 clicks per hour. So that's 6 hours.
Yeah, the grav bike is very fast, which is 500 to 800 kilometers per hour.
Let's call it 500.
It does, however, have a range of 3,000 kilometers. So it'll be on
So
power.
I'll do it on one charge. It's pretty good. Okay. Got range anxiety.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's a suggestion. I could go on the bike and get her, while we also bring them in.
Okay.
There might be other ways we can do it. I'm just throwing things out.
One thing to consider, and I don't think Batu would necessarily suggest this, but I suspect that Dane, especially with how you were the one who had the most direct interaction with them.
Yeah.
If you're in their position, you approach someone, what was the response you guys had?
Dane just left the bar without talking to them again.
Yeah.
Or looking at them.
Actually, I did more than that. I looked in their direction and I just went.
So that is where things were left.
Yep. They're not going to take us now. They're going to know there's been a shift, and they'll be suspicious. If I was in their shoes, I'd be suspicious.
I will tell you that from my side of the screen, it will be a random chance of whether they have or have not got other cargo, and whether they will or will not trust you.
Yeah.
So just so it's absolutely clear, we're not putting a thumb on the scale of one or other, outcome from this.
But there has to be a good chance, a reasonable chance, that they're going to be cagey, really cagey.
Oh, yeah. Like, I imagine that the incautious human trafficker is the one who is no longer a human trafficker.
Yep.
Yes.
That's like the worst motivational poster ever. What would the koala be doing in that picture? I don't know. I suppose he'd be in a cage. So what do you guys think? You have a hover car or air raft, or what is it? Is that air raft? Hover
It's
car?
an air raft.
Air
It's
raft.
an
An air raft you have access to. It's a thing. What you can rely on too is you likely have access to higher technology than these people.
We may as well take them both, right? You never know; they might turn out useful when we get there.
Oh, what's the range of the air raft? I wonder. Let's see here.
Pretty massive. Because it can go up to orbit and everything.
Oh, right, but no, but like the orbit's not 3,000 kilometers though. So, because I was surprised by the range of the
Oh, right.
of the grav bike.
Yeah, pretty impressive. 3,000 clicks on a charge.
My Wrangler, not that far.
No, leave my cash card.
There's a reason I have
latest diesel, can't do it.
I have my drive back to visit my folks planned out by gas stations because of my thimble-sized gas tank. All right, so the air raft. Oh, the air raft has a range of 1,000 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Bizarre.
I mean, there's nothing stopping you from taking your ship out somewhere and then using that as a staging base. The only thing you need to worry about is locals coming across it. Although, again, like they're more likely to be armed with submachine guns and rifles than they are, plasma weapons or lasers.
I mean, might be awkward though. I mean, they're going to want to regulate ship traffic on. So yes, we could do it physically. We can do it, but it might generate some interest.
If you flew directly out, possibly. Like the thing is that as much as there is extreme technology and there probably is the ability to track where everything goes, that's not to say that they do, especially for these frontier worlds. This is not a panopticon, particularly if you've only got one high port and you guys happen to enter the atmosphere on the far side of the planet, right? Like it's not, there is the ability, there is the technology to be able to track that kind of stuff if you're inclined to do that, but not everyone's going to be doing that and tracking every single ship that's coming and going from a relatively high trafficked area and distinguishing that from aircraft or whatnot. So you're absolutely right that it would be like leaving the low port definitely would be something you would be registering, but like you can picture as well how many captains were like, fuck it, I'm not paying for the low port fees, I'll wait in orbit. So there's probably still ships in orbit as well waiting to see if this labor dispute ends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not paying the car park fee. I'm gonna leave it on a lay day out there.
I think we call that the stubborn dad approach. Fuck, I'm not paying this.
No, every time I go into the peaks, nobody uses the car park. They always find like a bit of wasteland to stick their car on free.
We have that with ships here, and there's a lot of ships parked off the coast because they don't want to pay the harbor fees, and then they just ferry people back and forth.
That's great.
Love it. Oh, God.
Oh
yeah,
man,
human nature then. Human nature.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, what do you guys think? I mean, you could also do like you're doing with your extra tanks. You could bring extra power supplies with you, top up the power supply for your thing to have more of a long distance haul with it. And I think, and on the upside, your designated liaison seems to be in your favor. So if you are going to purchase that shit locally, she can likely make sure that it isn't discovered by anyone else as a curious purchase when you're trying to get long range stuff.
Yeah.
From our research into them, it always seems to be the two of them working together.
Yes.
Right from the recent news articles Alonso found that they've only the two of them are offers.
And you know what's curious? Seeing if they are successful at this stuff, what do you think the likelihood is that they, like, once they've done their kidnapping, go and be like, okay, let's now figure out how we're going to get this person off planet?
Yeah. You'd think they would have a way off. That's part of their plan.
I mean, maybe they did, and something went wrong. Don't know. It's good. It's a good question. It's a really good question. Yeah, you'd have thought that if they were doing their job properly, they would not be here now.
And again, like, not the kind of thing you dabble in, right? Like, if they are actually behind some of these other things, and you plan every step of this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's 6 hours to get there on GrabBike.
Sounds uncomfortable.
I've done worse.
What are the G-bike equivalent of saddle sores?
Yeah. It's actually pretty good. I'm just tempted. I don't know. I'm tempted just to go out there and get her, come back. Or find out if she's there.
I mean, there's always the option of, which might have ripple effects, but Alonso could just ask his good friend, the Intercessor, hey, what up? You probably know more than us. Like, we don't want to like muck this up in like any advice, any information you can give us.
Yeah.
Although that might have ripple effects, and I just think the Intercessor would prefer not getting involved in this.
I think so. Well, but they also wanted to succeed.
Would there be a reason, this is Dr. Elias just thinking of the better nature of sentient beings, could there be a reason why someone would want to like rescue her? If you think there's some off-world contact, like, and if it's so a little bit haphazard, could this be some sort of weird ass
like long distance?
Cabin?
Yeah.
Some sort of, maybe it's not as tied into local politics as we think, but this is just Dr. Elias,
I think it's some Romeo and Juliet thing, but
Right.
not necessarily, but
we
just
need to find her first.
Well,
like, could these two, like Mikhail and Gog, mean well, or been hired to do something that's not nefarious, even though it does involve the,
So these are they're just social workers disguised as mercenaries.
not all
Child
heroes wear
Protection
capes.
Agency.
I thought we did research into them though, and seen that they were often not acting that way,
Yeah.
and that they were
Yeah, it's
causing.
And how old is the young woman? Is she 14?
14.
Yes, 14.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you guys think?
scout out a facility. Could try and make contact with them and possibly just be open and say, we think you have someone that we're not entirely keen on transporting off planet.
Oh.
Tell us why we should.
Hmm.
Are you members of an organization that's kidnapped a child?
This is outside of Achilles' comfort zone, so he's hoping for a friendly, nice, peaceful solution to all of this. Although he has a
Absolutely.
fear that it's going to be neither of these things.
No, we'll be right behind you when you ask that question. Around about 250 meters behind you.
With a scoped rifle.
Yeah, I mean, for Dane, that still counts as a safety zone. If he's that close.
Yeah. I don't know. You're going to need to persuade me not to just get on the bike, go and do the job, come back.
You might
How
be
else can you do it?
the idea of scouting out a facility, seeing if she's there, if she's being guarded, what else is happening there, is still something that might be worthwhile.
Yeah. I
One
think so.
potentially, the rest of us distract them by asking for a follow-up meeting to discuss passage.
Yeah.
They might be on alert, but we could always claim that something has come up or our plans have changed. We now need the income or something.
Yeah.
True.
The group
So
of
we need to
orphans
know
that we
who
were
the-
going to transport, they now don't need it.
Yeah.
So,
But out of character, have we told Tilatoral that we're possibly taking on even more work that might get in the way of?
I don't think so. I think you briefly. There was a discussion with Ultima about it because that was the process. I think it was Ultima's feelings on you transporting someone against their will that seemed to change the approach to this proposed thing. I think it partly what led you guys to.
Sorry, I've just had a.
Yeah.
Just Tila Tora, you've been hemmed in for such a long time. You must be pacing around. Why don't you get out and enjoy some proper action for a while?
Tila Toral is a warrior from a warrior family. He is a military leader, and he most definitely has a Aslan environmental suit that he wore to get off of Hernan's
I
claim.
don't know. It's a ridiculous idea, but I kind of like it. I like the idea that Tila Tora and possibly myself, and maybe some more of us will act as like a strike team. It's just like a holiday to him. It's got some danger. He'll probably appreciate keeping his eye in. Don't know. That's the other approach, which is we got somebody who's incarcerated against their will. It's a minor. We're going to go and deal with it.
Right.
I'm going anyway. But if you want to come along, I don't know. I just throw that in as another possible, completely different approach. By the way, we're going in 5 minutes, so suit up.
I mean, it would get away from his brooding, but
I know.
yeah, it may be just a thing. Yeah.
So we send the two psychos off into the desert, and the rest of us go around looking for alibis.
Well,
I'll just tell you,
Be very visible in the public square.
if he arrives at this facility and finds that there's a bunch of surprise mercenaries that were there, he's going to have questions.
Right.
Well, because that's what would happen on
3,000
Aaron's server.
kilometers away.
Right? Is that,
3,000 clicks away. The bike's got a range of 3,000 clicks. So, I'd have to have a swap out battery pack, as you say, just to
yeah,
a refuel.
I haven't I didn't look in the vehicle guide, but I assume that such a thing is possible because
Is it a small fusion? Is it a small fusion power? Are we able to take a fuel tank effectively with us and top it up when we get there?
let's see here.
Sorry.
There's the graphic. No, it's a question I'm sure there's an answer to.
Let's scope the facility out. We could do it with the ship. We could go presumably really quickly. You know,
The organization of the vehicle guide is just like they fucking dropped a bunch of pages on the ground and then just put them together because it's like from what they're not organized by, like it's like a galleon, a personal land yacht, a sloop, an ironclad, a patrol fighter, like an airplane. Jeepers. Maybe it's by tech level. Here we go. G-Bike. Ooh, a communication on the G-Bike's only 500 kilometers.
nice.
If you restricted the speed of it, you would keep it down to 4,500 kilometers.
Okay.
So we'd extend the range of it there. And then... yeah, it doesn't say what power system is, although I wonder if that's just assumed by the power level, or the tech level.
Documents. PNP.
so chassis, traits, hull, weaponry, space, customization. All right. Let me look at the hover thing here. Let's see, because I bet you there's got to be some way of adding on, like, you guys may be able to actually customize this sucker. Ooh, how about an unpowered boat, guys? How's that sound? No? I'm not hearing a lot of support for the unpowered boat idea.
Not our favorite.
No? Okay. Okay.
That we're about. Is the general plan then that we fly off and try and grab her? Or are we going to do Dr. Ilias's more intelligent plan, which is to try and lure them to us? If it's left up to me, we'll just go.
Fuel efficiency and fuel capacity can both be increased. A vehicle can have its range increased by 25% at a cost of 10% of its spaces. It may be done multiple times. And the fuel efficiency can also be increased at 25. Can be increased by 50% by adding 25% to its cost per space. I don't know what that means in game terms.
Okay.
But there are two ways for fuel efficiency and fuel capacity to increase the range of the vehicle. Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at my radio transceiver to see the range, but I've got tech level 13 one, which has got a range of 50 kilometers. Whereas if I'd got the tech level 12 one, I'd have had 5,000. Some things don't get better with higher tech.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can install a fission plant or a fusion plant on the vehicles. And lest you be concerned about the safety of such a thing, it does say it's mostly safe. A mostly safe nuclear reactor.
Well,
so
it is what it is, isn't it? We're not going to be able to. We do a great deal with it here.
you could get extra things like what is the cargo on the grav bike? Does it allow for extra spaces? Because you could basically have whatever the fuel is for it have the extra fuel. Here we go. G-Bike has 0 cargo.
Yeah.
Now, alternative is just take something that's a little less range but more cargo. Like I mean, the air raft has more cargo space, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
You can also assume that you can get either for refueling or getting more power by getting out to the facility. Is the difficulty getting out to the facility and getting back, or it's just getting out there, dealing with the problem, and then figuring out how to get out of there?
Yeah, it's part of the range. I think as long as we can get there, it's fine. It sounds to me like we need to take the ship, park it, I don't know, 100 clicks away. And then take both the air raft and the G-Bike and recce the site. Walk in, rescue the person, deal with the 2 of them, or more of them if there are more of them. Get back out. In fact, yeah, and we'll have to come back in to sort out our trade. It's a bit direct, but that's kind of the way I roll.
Is that the plan then?
Come on, Dr. Elias. You.
Well, Dr. Elias would normally prefer having more information before, an operation. But he's finding that out here. Things aren't quite as well organized as his surgery. back home. So yeah, I think if well, he would see it as a scouting operation to the facility, but obviously realize that if the girl is there and there's armed opposition, it might turn into more. But do we want to take the ship then? Because that's possibly going to be obvious, more so than us, or you on your own doing a bit of scouting.
Yeah.
Just
I suppose
a thing then. I checked the central supply catalog, and the new version, it changes everything. So in fact, my radio transceiver should reach 5,000 kilometers. So you could take that with you and then tell us if you want us to come.
For exfil. Yeah.
I think, if I'm being honest, if I go on the bite, I'll be coming back with the hostage.
Well, yeah, but if you have enough fuel, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these remote facilities, if it's built like other ones too, it probably has something similar for refueling and whatnot, because they're not, islands. But it is several centuries old, so...
Yeah, so with the radio, you have the option.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, true.
So then I guess...
Pick up.
Dane, it seems like you are going to see if you have a passenger with Tila Toril on this.
I think I need to come clean with him anyway.
Okay.
That's kind of I'm not looking forward to this. And that's my way of sweetening the pill.
Yeah. Okay, then that brings us to the end of our session. So next time we will be having a chat. Yeah, we're already out of time.
Oh.
So next time we will be seeing whether this former conqueror can get his groove back, or would-be conqueror, I suppose, and then trying to effect a raid on an old Judico facility. Judico, I'm sure we didn't leave anything behind. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time, though. That's a great way to kick off the 2024 campaign. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with more of the Borderland Run, and we'll see what happens in the deserts of Hilfer. But until then, as is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There is also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where we have a channel dedicated to this campaign, as well as most other campaigns we run on the channel. There are, in addition to the stuff we run on the channel, there's a bunch of other channels with very helpful and knowledgeable people on them. It's a great community that has grown up over the years over there, and you are more than welcome to join us. There is also a link down below to the our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have a great selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs, and if in their extensive catalog you find something that is not in stock, you can often put it on a want list. They'll send you an email when it comes in, and if you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code FALLMUSER, all caps, all one word, and you'll save yourself 10% in your purchase. That will be changing after January 15th, so tomorrow, 2024. So if you're listening to this at a later date, come back and listen to or go to one of our more recent videos, and you'll find in the description of that video what the current discount code is. I'll be getting that shortly. There's also a link down below to the something called Heroes Save Villages, which is a charity fundraising campaign we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really incredible organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children, including ongoing relief efforts in a bunch of different crisis areas. And if you follow that link, you can learn all about that. All donations that go through that link go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to help out the kids who benefit from their services. And if you head on over to the Charity Initiatives channel, we'll have information soon about how we're planning on thanking the generous donors to that campaign this year. The last thing I will say is an enormous thank you to our stalwart crew for starting late today because of earlier session today, and for staying late today because we wanted to keep on playing. So James, Graham, David, and Jeffrey, thank you so much for playing today, guys. We'll be back at our normal time in 2 weeks' time. But until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our heroes are uncovering in the desert world of Hilfer. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.